Greeting and salutation, Dota fans! Welcome back to the Asus ROG Dream League Season 3. This is Game 2 of the second series of the day between Burden United and Complexity, and Draskal, I need to lay off the monster.
Yeah, I think you're on your second... You had them both already, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
How are you not bouncing off the walls right now?
Well, I will be later, I'll tell you that. And that's not the only thing that's bouncing around as we are into Game 2. Enigma and Bristleback have been picked up by Complexity Gaming. Burden United starting the draft with Io and Venge. And Draskal, you're a big fan of Rise's Black Holes.
I am. Yesterday he had a spectacular performance on Enigma against M5. He blinked, like Tokyo drifted his black hole to stop a Spirit Breaker from charging, and then like won his team the game single-handedly. Like honestly, I think that black hole was so important. And honestly, his performance on any kind of hero where you kind of sit in a jungle and farm and kind of can split push and get these big team fight ultis, it seems like his forte, you know. You have these heroes that can sit in the back and wait for the perfect opportunity to go in, and Riser is just fantastic in those situations. So look forward to seeing him playing that hero again. Burden United, though, they get their tiny band out by Complexity in the second phase. But as Chesty said earlier, you can have a ton of different heroes partner up with a Wisp. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Tiny, doesn't have to be a Troll, doesn't have to be a Storm. Can be like even a Sven if you want to go full Empire circa TI3.
Ooh, I'd like
that
to
was
see
exciting.
Sven. I think, yeah, Sven, one of those heroes that, for many reasons, isn't as popular as he was, but still arguably can be very, very scary with the Io. We talked about Spirit Breaker being played up against Enigma previously when Complexity ran the Enigma, and in putting off some stuff to stop it. This time they'll take it for themselves, so the Spirit Breaker alongside the Bristleback and the Enigma. Now, Burden United, who do you honestly think they could pick to go with the Io, now taking into account that you have had those bans, and you've also had the Bristleback picked up by Complexity, another core hero that does work quite well with the Io?
I do actually think Sven is quite good here against these types of heroes. So you have Bristleback, who does predominantly physical damage. You know, you got your Warpath, you have your Quill Spray, get some minus armor going with the Nasal Goo. But if you just have max rank of Warcry, that's 16 armor, you get the bonus movement speed, and then you just fight. Like, you just man fight the Bristleback, or you man fight the Spirit Breaker, for example. So I think it's on the board. But as far as what they want to do, options are open. Teams nowadays are pretty open to experimentation, and you're totally Kappa reading the chat right now. I can see you. Like, I'm just watching you read it. Chat. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so rip headphones indeed.
So
anyway, sorry. Third pick for Burden United. They're still thinking about it. They're obviously taking their time to, you know, muster over their options. They want to make sure they get something as impactful as the tiny Sing Sing was in the first game. But it certainly is a lot harder now, and I'm sure Complexity, they're certainly kind of drafting around that. Spirit Breaker, great against the Io. You can just beeline it straight for the little bally fellow and blow him up. Bristleback as well in the team fights. Io, chances are he's going to start getting the Quill Spray stacks build up on him. And I mean, even Enigma, you know, once you get the blink, you're able to blink in, Malefice the Io, just so it's hard for the Io to keep tethered up and keep in control with the fellow hero. But they're going to pick up the Clockwork next, so still quite evidently not going to be the hero that they're prioritizing to match up with the Io, so kind of leaving it to the later stage. So whatever they want to go with, they seem to feel that Complexity aren't going to ban it, and they're not going to pick it themselves. To
be honest, when you've already taken so many things out, it's like you don't got Troll, you don't have your PL, you don't have Tiny, you don't got Storm, you don't have Sniper. It's already 5 cores that could potentially have been partnered with a Wisp in the first place. So if you're just going the route of no matter what, we're going to get something, then it's fine. You don't have to pick your core right now. I love Clockwork against Enigma. Obvious reasons. Even if you have BKB, you can just hookshot in, you can stop the black hole. Bristleback, you can isolate him from the rest of his team. Same thing with a Spirit Breaker. It's very frustrating to play these heroes that go directly into a team fight, and then all the Clockwork has to do is find a decent hook that separates you from the rest of the team. And then from then on out, you're in a situation where you're like, oh, I'm actually just cut off by the 4 other people. And I really hope that doesn't keep happening on your side, because that would be really awkward when we got in the game.
It would be a little bit. I think we've broken something, but we'll be fine. I'll just have to cast from your camera work, Draskal. So yeah, Queen of Pain picked up, again, Complexity, as well as it was, who have we seen pick up that? It was earlier, it was the
Z-Freak.
Z-Freak, and also in the first series of the day, it was a lot of popularity with...
Oh god, you're putting me on the spot now. I can't remember who was playing.
What's the lad's name?
I don't remember.
But even so, we've seen a lot of
Ninja played it in the very first game.
That was what I was thinking of, yes.
Yeah,
and then the second guy came in and picked it up, Goddamn. It was Goddamn on the Queen of Pain. That was what we were looking for.
The difference was pretty staggering.
It was a little bit. Our phone ninja.
But to be fair, let's be fair. Goddamn got dual laned, right?
Okay, it was, yeah, the laning situation wasn't ideal for the Quap in the second game, but let's see how it is in this game. Medusa's going to be picked up. That's going to be a hero that obviously does pair up very nicely with the IO. And in that situation, is it going to be the Medusa IO in the safe lane with the Venge, or do you still run this mid? Because we do see Medusa go mid sometimes in this patch.
I think if the lanes are such that the Medusa isn't going to struggle, you could even put Wisp Clockwork in the off lane and just say, you're against 2 melee cores so far, Bristleback and Spirit Breaker. So if you want to just be crazy annoying and stop them from farming, you can just put the Wisp with the clock and just go for these kind of tower divey sort of plays, similar to how a Bristleback Wisp would play or a Wisp and a Legion Commander. They all kind of do the same thing. They just run at you and be a general nuisance. So we'll see if Complexity want to pick up a core and go for the support Spirit Breaker, or if they're going to be playing that as a hero who will just go off lane, and maybe they'll take a page out of, I believe it was not Hellraisers. Wait, I'll get it. Just, I'm old. Yep, it takes me a minute sometimes.
Channel, yep.
I can't remember. No. Brain is just lagging.
That's all right.
Are you going to cover me, or do you not know either?
What are we talking about?
Oh, God, it's happening, isn't it? It's all bad.
Welcome to DreamLeague, Asus ROG DreamLeague, I better say, in case someone gets angry. 5th pick now for Complexity Gaming. They picked the Phoenix, so there's your answer. You didn't know? What? Didn't that, what?
Never mind, I just think it's funny. Okay. Yeah, so Complexity, the Phoenix pick, I like it. There's not a lot of heroes on the side of Burden United who are even going to go BKB at all. Okay. So Medusa typically doesn't buy one unless you really feel like you're going to get bursted. And with the lineup of Complexity, not really too burst heavy, more like control and slow and steady damage wins the race kind of a lineup. So I do enjoy the Phoenix here. Plus they got smashed by it the other day. So
they did.
Yeah.
Who was on it? Was it Bignum?
I think it might have been.
Bignum on the Phoenix against the Enigma was a very, very strong pick, and yeah. Phoenix with the Enigma is also a very, very strong combination. Being able to get the Black Hole into the Supernova, you can lock down the team for adds up to about a good, what, 8-9 seconds probably with the stun if you manage to stagger it perfectly with the Black Hole duration.
It's like 2.5 seconds of stun, so maybe like 5 or 6.
5 or 6, yeah. 5 or 6. It's a poor man's 9 seconds. And well, Gyrocopter is the final pick, so we are going to see... Oh, this is my... Okay, yeah. So
yours works again. Okay, good.
Yeah, mine is working now, but for some reason the lobby's not done the lobby stuff, so we're going to be playing with their casual names. Sing Sing Beaver Night. My butts. That's my nuts. And my Iraq.
For whatever reason, this isn't a ticketed game. We don't know why. So we couldn't select the thing, so that's why the official names aren't showing up.
There'll be a Reddit post about that then.
Yeah. I think it was a Dota bug, though, so it wasn't on our side. Like, we knew that it wasn't showing up. It's just that he couldn't select the thing to make it an official match.
And it will indeed be fixed in Source 2, I'm hearing. So, right, we're into the game, second game of the series, Complexity versus Burden United. I'm ODPixel, I'm here with the young Draskell. So far, going into the game, what are we seeing in terms of lanes? We see Swindle Melons, he is going to be on that Bristleback. Normally the mid player, are we going to see him on the mid Bristleback? Maybe. Zafreak is on the Spirit Breaker. With that starting item build, the South Shield, the Salve, and the Tangos, he's almost certainly going to be on the off lane, which leaves some very kind of unorthodox lanes coming out from Complexity. Maybe ZYZZY on this safe lane Quap, being backed up by the TLK Phoenix support, and Ryza on the jungle Enigma. Is that what we're seeing? I guess they're all grouped up as a 5. They could definitely go their own separate ways. But over on the side of the Dire, can you break it down a little bit more easier for us, Draskell? What is going on?
So I feel for Burden United, any lanes that you put together are automatically going to be strong for pretty much 2 reasons. One, there's an Enigma. And we often talk about how the junglers are like these heroes that can be really good, but they can also be very bad if the enemy team has really strong 2-1-2. So we saw that yesterday, I believe. And this game could be a perfect example of that, where you're not able to pressure the Medusa at all. I think if this game goes late, there's a very small chance that Complexity can take this unless they get some crazy good ultimates. So that being said, I think that they do have the capability of pressuring with heroes like the Spirit Breaker, like the Queen, and just pushing into towers with a Mech Enigma, or maybe somebody else like the Phoenix ends up buying it if they manage to get some farm, so we'll see.
I mean, if there was ever a game where they needed to push and finish the game early, this is it when you're playing up against a Medusa and a Gyrocopter.
Yeah.
If this goes late, if you try and push high ground, pretty much after the 30-minute mark, you're going to have a tough time.
This Wisp Gyro lane is going to be a nightmare. If you ever get caught out, sure, you have that blank to get away, but I think that Ziz is not going to be having the greatest of times. If they leave Riser alone, Complexity will probably be happy with that trade. Just say, okay, Riser's going to free farm. He'll get his mech early. He can help us push. And then we'll just try to get some early towers and use that recovery gold for Ziz to get whatever item he decides to go for.
And at the moment, the Enigma's going to have a pretty nice time in the jungle. We've not seen what we see a lot of teams do, where they go aggressive, put some wards down, get at least a little bit of, like just an observer ward down, so you can see what the progression of the Enigma's like. The side of Burn United aren't going to have any of that at all, so Riser indeed is going to have a very, very nice time. In the mid lane, we do have this matchup between the Bristleback and the Medusa, two heroes that we don't always expect to see in the mid lane.
Medusa is more common, I think, than Bristleback is. Solely because Medusa's a ranged hero, first off, and that definitely helps when you're in the old 1v1 matchup. But you can push out the wave pretty easily just by spamming Mystic Snake. You get a bottle or you get a wand against Bristleback, and there's no real way that he's ever going to be able to pressure you enough to get a kill unless you make some pretty bad laning mistakes, which I don't think that Sing is going to be doing.
And yeah, top lane as well. Talking about weird lanes, this Clockwork and Vengeful Spirit combination that we're seeing. At the bottom lane, let's forget about that. ZYZZY is able to find his blink, pops the salve as well.
No.
Mayurak eats his way towards the Queen of Pain. The Rocket Barrage doing a lot of damage, and that is first blood going to my butt.
I like that sound effect, by the way.
It was good, wasn't it? I think I'll be releasing a Gyro Arcana with that.
Excellent.
The modified sound pack.
That was good, but again, we're seeing the devastation that a Gyro can wreak on any team that doesn't go for at least earlier BKBs. So obviously 2 minutes in, not going to have a BKB. And Rocket Barrage is, I think, the highest damage dealing ability in the game that's not an ulti. If you hit it on one person, of course.
Yes. Yeah,
so if you're just dumping it all into one guy, it's going to be some serious pain. And that means that the Wisp is going to get free reign over the bottom rune, which means that Minots will always have a full bottle. So even if Riser does decide to rotate to this lane, it's always going to be Ziz sitting on low health. They're even using the missile to chase.
He's dead again. I mean, what's he going to do? Blink away and still take the missile too? His face in the Spirits. Finish off that job. This is a disgusting name for Queen of Pain. You started off the cast by saying that Gyro IO is pretty nasty, and I think your point has been proven.
You can't disjoint homing missile, so even if you blink, you get hit, and that's just free damage that you take every single time. And the catch-22 is if you don't blink, then you get hit by a Rocket Barrage and the homing missile, so you just die even harder. If you don't rotate to this lane and try to help him at some stage, it's going to be total disaster for the Queen.
Why don't you swap the Queen and the Bristleback round?
You could, but the Bristleback would still die.
Okay.
If you put Bristleback against any hero partnered with a Wisp, the Wisp essentially gets double wand effectiveness because you're giving it to him and the person that he's tethered to. Plus, the Gyro would also have a wand, which means that you just can't die to Quills anymore unless you got like 8 stacked, which probably won't happen.
Yeah. So what do they do? I mean, do they keep the Queen of Pain down here? Does she return to the lane and just play extra safe? But I mean, she's playing as arguably as safe as she can, and she's still dying repeatedly.
I think you need another ranged hero down here. Maybe bring the Phoenix. That would be the only thing that could hit the homing missile. Because if you bring any other hero, Riser's in the jungle, the other two are melee. Queen is in the lane itself, so that kind of eliminates any other choice that you have for alleviating the situation. I really think the Phoenix is the only one who can do anything about it.
I mean, what about if you left the Phoenix up top, took the Spirit Breaker down? Because we're kind of seeing the kills happen when Burden United move into tower range and try and close down on the Queen of Pain. Perhaps if you have the Spirit Breaker there, they'll think twice about closing in, or do you think they'll still just go for it and probably get away with it?
The damage will still be dealt.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem, because the Spirit Breaker can't walk forward to hit the missile, because if he does, he eats the Rocket Barrage, and then he's low. Doesn't matter how much health you have, that ability hurts super bad, so you don't want to walk into it. But I suppose that could stop people from just flat out dying, but they would still lose the lane. Unless they start off with full health, and then they charge in, they go in for like the dagger, and they split the damage of the Rocket Barrage evenly, and then you could potentially live through that. That would be one way to do it, I guess.
Well, we'll see. We've got a little pause at the moment, unfortunately. We'll be back, hopefully, into the game fairly shortly. But it's, again, a strong start for Burden United. Well, I say again, in the first game, we saw Complexity. They made quite a big start, didn't they? They started off with a couple of nice early kills.
Yep.
And then, of course, Burden United came back. So maybe this is the game plan for Complexity. They've certainly got the potential to do so in the sense that they have constantly got this Enigma farming in the jungle. And he is going to be able to find a lot of farm because I don't think we're not going to see any rotations really from any heroes like the supports. Maybe the IO and Gyro take a little bit of a wander into the jungle eventually to look for the Enigma.
You could, but if he has conversions out, it could be a tiny bit more difficult to kill him. And the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be, due to the fact that Enigma jungle is extremely fast. Oh boy.
Yeah, top lane Icarus dive into the charge. They have had a TP in from Burden United to try and turn this one around. Zafreak and the Phoenix tried to go aggressive, but it did not work out. Clockwork able to find the kill there on Spirit Breaker. A nice TP reaction there from Burden United.
Well, I don't think that Burden United care too much about this Enigma, given how well the laning has been going. And if he gets this rune, it could be quite nice for him.
And my butts here finds the double damage rune. Paris is coming as well, trying to fend off the Bristle and the Phoenix. And it's going to be a charge on the Aya, but it's just to get the Spirit Breaker into the lane, because he does not want to go in against that at this point. Still, yeah, very, very strong start for Burden United. I mean, what is the game plan this time around for Complexity? With their draft, do they just have to wait until the Enigma gets to a certain point, or can they do anything whilst they wait on that kind of key moment of the game?
You just have to play passive. You can't give away any more kills. That's the most important part, is just don't get homing missile killed if you're Ziz. Just try to back up as much as you can, play under the tower. Wait until Riser at least has Black Hole, because then he can try to counter gank. And he seems to want to fight.
Well, ZY, he goes down again. The triple circlet build, not providing him enough attributes to attribute himself away from that BS. The IO Gyro, I mean, once the IO hits level 6, it's not just going to be the Queen of Pain feeling this horror.
Normally, dying a couple of times on a lane isn't as big of a deal, but the dynamic of what Burden United have changes as soon as the Wisp hits 6, because it's going to be similar to what we saw in Game 1, where you're just going to see these relocate ganks that kill you immediately, and there's not going to be anything that you can do about it. So giving kills away and experience to this Wisp is the worst part of dying, honestly. He's getting some CS, but the kills are just not worth it. Nice movement, though, from Riser, realizing that they're coming here, and they do have a ward as well. Yeah,
they do have the ward. 3 heroes as well in Complexity around the mid lane. Maybe looking to see if they could go on the Medusa. They won't be able to do, as Sing Sing does keep it safe and backs himself up, leaving the Spirit Breaker on his own on the top lane to find a bit of XP. Burden United still have this Clockwork and the Vengeful Spirit combination hanging around in the top lane. Coming up to 6 minutes in. CS-wise in the lane, we're seeing the lead for the Gyro and the Medusa. Enigma obviously top of the board. He's jungling. It's come to be expected. 6 minutes in. Not the best of starts that Complexity could have wished for. But we are only 6 minutes in, Draskell, and
it's true.
We could have a long game on our hands. We've got a Medusa and a Gyro. Burden United at least can sustain it very, very late. What's Complexity's late game looking like in your opinion?
It's not too bad, but it's heavily reliant on the ultis of Phoenix and the Enigma, of course. The Queen is not going to have any kind of core capacity due to how many times she's died in early laning phase. She's got 15 CS, which I suppose isn't too shabby, considering the 0-3 that Ziz is sporting right now. But a Bristleback isn't seen as an ultra late game hero, and neither really is Queen or Spirit Breaker. And you're playing against one of the hardest late game carries in Dota, Medusa. And it's going to be supported by a Wisp. And you're going to have Venjor on top of that, and a Gyro who has had a phenomenal start. He's sitting almost top of the CS, and he's got a bunch of kills to his name. So if I'm Complexity, I need to really just be like, Riser, you need to carry us, because if you don't, it's going to be a sad time.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Riser's Enigma play is indeed very, very good. Helped them an awful lot in their, well, the first quarterfinals that we saw them in. It was yesterday or 2 days ago. Complexity. It was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was yesterday. It was the first game of yesterday against Moscow 5. So, yeah, we'll see how much he's able to come into play when he does. I mean, in terms of cancelling the Black Hole, they've obviously got Avenge. They've got the Clockwork. They've also got the Stone Gaze, which is something that I guess won't cancel it straight away, but does limit the kind of usefulness of it, because Enigma, he might be able to pull them all in, but if he decides to stay and commit, he's almost certainly going to lose his life after the Black Hole's over.
It's a really good point. Even just knowing that the Enigma could be coming into the team fight, you just preemptively pop Stone Gaze.
Yeah.
And then if Riser gets a blink, he goes, he's like, oh, well, I either have to turn and not Black Hole at all, which means that the ulti's not there, or I Black Hole and hope that for a second and a half, that's enough time for my team to get some serious damage out, which if anybody else is looking at Sing, it's not going to work. So I feel as though Burden United have a leg up, not just in the draft department, but in the way that they're playing it at this point. The Wisp is almost level 5 at 6 minutes as a dual lane Wisp. So
yeah,
that's a pretty significant experience lead to have as a hero who normally doesn't hit 6 until like 10+ minutes into the game.
It really isn't. Yeah, the fact that Burden United managed to have this such of a strong start, and they've got the Gyro Medusa. As soon as Stone Gaze sets in, not only have you got Split Shot, you've got Flat Cannon as well. And if you, I mean, that's a dead team. Complexity are going to take so much damage from the physical DPS coming from those two heroes. I really want Complexity to do something to kind of bring themselves back into it. And as we were saying at the start of this pause, it is down to Enigma. It's what he's going to be able to do when he comes out of the lane, comes out of the jungle and looks to enter into a lane. And in terms of that, where does he go first? Do you think he looks to find the kill on Beaver Knight Sing Sing on the mid lane Medusa, which is going to be hard in the sense that he's got the Stone Gaze. Well,
he hasn't skilled it.
He's not. Has he put a point into stats there, or has he just not spent the point yet?
He has put, I believe, a few into stats. It's pretty common, though. A lot of Medusa players will go mid, do like 1 or 2 points into stats, max the Mystic Snake. The first point into Mana Shield is the best, as it gives you like no Mana Shield to having a 1.6 effectiveness like damage per taken Mana Shield.
Yes.
So
it's a very
valuable point to have. But I think if you're Enigma, maybe not even just going to gank per se, just pushing a lane out with a mech and grouping up with your team. So you have Bristleback, you got Phoenix, you have a mech, a Spirit Breaker, and a Queen to start the fights. So you have a nice combination of heroes that can force the engagement, and then some pretty meaty heroes to back it up. I think that their team fighting isn't bad. They just need to try to stem the bleeding of the safe lane more than anything else. That's the only thing that's really going bad for them at this point in time. And Swindle, if he gets maybe a Crimson, just as an example, Medusa doesn't do a ton of damage early on. So if you get Crimson and you're pushing in with like this Crimson mech, it's very hard to stop that. Like, you can get the tier 1s easily. If you get tier 1s, Roshan with a Bristleback on your team, not really that hard. I feel like they have methods to get back in. They just need to be able to execute it.
I certainly do indeed. And do we know why we've got this pause?
I don't even actually know why. He said he's coming soon.
Food, apparently.
There's no way he's paused because he's eating. If he is, next time I see him, I'm going to kick him in the shin really hard.
Well, we have got a game on our hands. It's a little bit of a momentum.
Pause gaming.
Yeah.
Pizza pause.
Pizza pause.
Yeah. That was a thing.
It was a thing.
Did you watch Dota back then?
Back when?
When the pizza pause thing
I'm only 12.
That's true. It's true.
It's a little bit before my time. But this is the original Dota you're talking about.
No, it was Dota 2.
Dota 2.
It was like 2 or 3 years ago.
That's quite a while
So
ago.
you were like 9 or 10, you know, reaching the double digits?
Yes. I don't think I played Dota back then. But anyway, what was this pizza pause? There was some kind of iconic pause.
It was EG ran tournaments that were sponsored by Papa John's, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So every time anybody paused, they just called it a pizza pause because that was like the sponsor or whatever.
Well, it's a shame now I'm casting. There don't seem to be any pizza-sponsored tournaments. Not that we care over here. The Asus ROG DreamLeague are one of the best sponsors around. 10 out of 10, WTFACE. Back to the game. Burden United with a 4-0 lead. 6 minutes in, we are back on our way into the game. Face Boots Aquila onto my Yarok, which I think that's Necroman, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yes, Necroman on the gyro, must be. And Ryza, he's coming to the mid lane. He's got level 6, he's got the black hole, and he's going to smoke up straight away with the Phoenix. Phoenix does not have Supernova. Maybe they can look to catch someone else out. They're going to go to the top lane. There is the Venge, there is the Clockwork here. What can they do here? They're just going to look for the easy kill on the Venge. They're going to charge on to come with me. I say easy kill, but Clockwork might be able to help a friend out. Midnight Pulse comes down to clear the tree lines. TP straight away from the eye. Might be able to get the regen onto Venge. And the 6 charges will keep the Vengeful Spirit alive. Wave of Terror now onto the Spirit Breaker as he has to run away. And Cogs catching out TLK and Ryza. And this is Ryza's first entry into a lane. And he's taken out of the game immediately. Spirit Breaker trying to find the eye, but he's my butts on the eye with a triple kill. 7-0 Burden United. It's complexity. It's just not working out for them, Draskell.
On top of all that, the Queen almost died bottom lane while that was all happening. So that was very close to being 4 members of Complexity dead. And they tried to go up there. He didn't commit the black hole to getting the kill. Obviously, he felt that he would have been able to get it, but the Wisp just teleports in and completely saves the day.
So here's the replay. Draskell, can you give some tips to Complexity here?
So if you're really far behind, it's kind of hard to say you should have committed a black hole to that, but even Riser just walking a little bit farther forward would have given him the option. As the two supports get caught out here by the clockwork, so Sakshka was in a brilliant position to ensure that all these heroes end up going down. And Z-Freak's already fully committed. He's like, I can't do anything else. I'm either getting this kill or I'm dying. And at that point,
could this be the first kill of the game? He's already got the cogs down. They really want to kill. Complexity want to get themselves on the board. Black hole onto the clockwork. Tries to walk it off. Oh dear. Paris, can you stop feeding, please? 7-1. Finally, Complexity get themselves on the board.
I know how it feels to be the only death on a team. I've been there. It's okay. No shame. Especially, you just say space created. They dropped a black hole on a clockwork. I'd be okay with that. We get a tier 1 out of it. They kill one kind of, not necessarily full-fledged safe laner, but a hero who is getting some farm priority. And they trade up a tier 1 in the safe lane on top of that.
Oh, now come with me. My butt's on the high ground. Same time, we see the pressure from ZYZZY and Z-Freak onto the top tower. TP in from Paris on this clockwork. Has got the hook shot available. Continually through all this all. Beaver Knight, Sing Sing farming in the mid lane. Interesting love though, top of the net worth. It was the Bristleback now taken over by the Gyro. Swindle Melons was clearing out the ancient stack there on his half of the map. Bottom lane, come with me. He's going to be backed up by Necroman and My Butts as they push onto the second tower in this lane. ZYZZY cannot defend this on his own. He is going to need some backup. He is going to need some support. My Yarick clearing the way with Flat Cannon. They're onto the tower now. The damage is going to come in. Complexity, what are they going to do here? Bristlebacks had to go back to base after clearing the ancients. He's very, very low. There's your swap into the missile. Magic missile, double dead. Queen of Pain off the map. 8-1. When does it ever stop, Draskell?
Not entirely sure it does stop, unfortunately. There's no real way for them to go into a fight without Black Hole. And the Phoenix isn't level 6. The Phoenix is level 4! And it's 10 minutes into the game. This is so unbelievably underleveled for this stage. He needs level 6 so badly. They're going to try to force an engagement, but they just realize, nope, Wisp even has Relocate.
Yes.
And we couldn't even see one of the other heroes on the map, so they assume that Come With Me's down there because he was the one sitting inside of the woods. They did see, however, the Medusa and the Clockwork, so they really wanted to try to force that, but they just can't. Even in a situation where they potentially outnumber Burden United. Without Black Hole, it's like, nope, can't go.
And Black Hole, yeah, indeed, still down for over a minute for the side of Complexity. They can't really look to fight, but Burden United, they certainly can, and it looks like they will. On the bottom lane, still 3 of them grouping up. My Butts has Relocate back online with the help of Necroman. They could look to try and jump in on the mid lane. You've got Sing Sing backed up into the Dire Jungle, continuing to find his farm, and top lane Clockwork just eating up the solo XP and trying to find the gold he can up against the co-op. He's also come here on the off lane for the Radiant now, trying to find some farm for the team, and in the Radiant jungle, there's the swap onto Enigma. Io is there with the Spirits. Midnight Pulse gets thrown down. Oh, my Yarick is going to be a little bit off point there with the cooldown. Charge onto My Butts. Maybe the side of Cole can find some kills. They find the ulti from the Queen of Pain onto the Vengeful Spirit. Io goes down as well as the Bristleback. But meanwhile, Enigma goes down to what I can only imagine to be a homing missile that chases him back towards his base. So it's a 2-for-1 trade. Pretty much the best trade we've seen for Complexity so far.
Getting kills on the board. They just increased their kill count by what, 300%? Something like that? Going from 1 to 3, not too bad. And Swindle, at this point, he's closing in on his Vanguard, if that's the item that he wants to go for. I still think that Crimson on him and Mech on Riser is probably the best way to just 5-man and say, yeah, we require some form of attention. Now that TLK is going to hit 6 off this creep wave in bottom, you now have Phoenix ulti too. So you got Fire Spirits, you got your Supernova, Black Holes off cooldown. This could be a really nice timing as long as Riser is able to get his mech in maybe next 4 or 5 minutes, something similar to that.
Okay, well, we'll see indeed. He's closing on it. He's getting close to the buckler, but does still indeed need to get the recipe as well. On top of that, old Burden United, the Medusa Sing Sing has picked up a Mask of Madness, so just looking to speed up his farm. And along with the phase boots, he should be able to get himself across the map, through the jungle, through the camps, and clean up as much as possible. Well, what is the plan now? Top lane, 2 heroes, the Clockwork and the Venge, hanging around. They're not going to look for the kill, though, as Clockwork heads to grab. Oh, no, there's no top room. He's just making his way back in towards the jungle. We've got the Gyro, and we've got the Io at the moment in the Radiant half of the map. Relocate is available if Burden United decide to go on anyone, and, well, here we go. My close. TLK he does manage to just pick up his boots before they get peeped, and My Butts having a lot of fun in the jungle. And we'll get taken down there by the Spirit Breaker and Enigma.
A little bit big for his britches there. Like, why was he there? He had no vision. he couldn't see any part of the enemy jungle. He was like, you know what? I'm going in. I'm feeling confident about this. Can't see anybody, but it's fine. You know, this is totally fine. Obviously, that wasn't the case for him. That was dangerously close to being a tranquil snipe, and that would have been awful for the Phoenix. So really happy for him that didn't end up going that way. At this stage, it's just Burden United farming up on Sing. Like, he's just sitting in the jungle with a split shot and his Mask of Madness. And it's just, eventually, you have to try to push in to what Burden United have. And Complexity, to their credit, are starting to get on the board in terms of getting some kills, getting some very necessary items up on their Bristleback and their Enigma. So I would imagine the pressure from them starting to mount a little soon.
I mean, yeah, you look at the graphs at the moment, the difference in XP just only over 1,000. And even gold-wise, it's not too huge of a lead for Burden United. It's just kind of the spread of the farm, because you look at the fact that they've got the Gyro and Medusa both top of the board, both around a very, very similar 6.5k gold mark. And then on the side of the Radiant, it's the Bristleback that's high up at 6.2, but then it falls off very heavily as you look towards your Enigma and Queen of Pain cores.
Well, hopefully for Complexity, they can line everything up as we see a potential gank attempt here on top.
Yeah, they might find a kill here on Come With Me because he has not got any backup at all. Nether Strike with the burn damage coming from TLK should be able to secure this one. And a very nice kill indeed as Complexity slowly but surely climbing themselves back onto the board. BU Paris with the Invis Rune walks under a sentry ward. Rises found him with the Malefice. And now Clockwork hook shots in. In comes the Cavalry with my butts and Necroman. They can't find any more kills than just that on Enigma because now they need to run. Swindle Melons has arrived. He's being chased by the homing missile. He's trying to outrun it. There's the relocate back out of the fight as they just go a little bit south, but maybe Bristleback will continue to try and hunt them down and might find them. They're going to TP out. There was a charge onto the IO and, well, Gyro does manage to get himself out as well there.
Really nice awareness, just TPing after the relocate brought them to their original position, realizing that the Spirit Breaker likely was going to be there as he was not showing on the map. So just a really nice call from the side of Burden United, getting themselves out of harm's way. Come With Me is going to deny this tier 1, so a little bit less gold going the way of Complexity. But Complexity are holding on. It's not as if Burden United had this insurmountable lead. It was just at the early game, it was 7-0.
Yes.
It was just outplay after outplay after outplay. Now Complexity got themselves pretty firmly on the board. Mech is completed on the Enigma. Black Hole is available. They did use Supernova in the last engagement, so they're not going to be able to pressure any more tier 1s for the time being, but I believe it will be on the menu for them soon.
Indeed, maybe with the Black Hole we can see something spectacular come out from the side of Complexity. But they're still playing it passive, as you were kind of saying is going to be the best port of call for them, and at least until they do have the Supernova online with the Black Hole, and they can look to fight again. Well, Phoenix needs to be careful. He's on his own here in the jungle. He's just walked past a Dire Observer ward. Burden United know he is there. We'll be able to Icarus dive out. There's a missile going his way. And while my butts Tevers in, they're going to chase this one down with the Eye of Spirits, bringing the Phoenix fairly low. There's your cooldown. Missile to the face. Necroman cleaning that one up for the side of Burden.
This Gyro is doing so much work. How do you deal with a hero who is almost haste speed with a tether on, deals a ton of magic damage when nobody is even close to buying a BKB? And you can just be anywhere at any given time. And his AoE damage is ridiculous too. He's almost got max flat cannon. He's got level 2 call down on top of that. Just seems very difficult to deal with right now if you're Complexity.
Indeed, in terms of items as well, he's pretty much got the S&Y complete. Also, just needs to find that final recipe to finish off the Yasha component. And out of that phase, Drums, Aquila, and S&Y, which for 16, 17 minutes in, that is a very statted up Gyrocopter.
I don't think I've seen any carries who are ranged build anything other than these types of items for a very long time. I think Drums is maybe one of the only things that isn't as common on a lot of heroes. So you see the Mask of Madness, you see the S&Y, you see the Scotty on so many different carries, but Gyro was one of the originators of this build because he did so much damage just by his skill set that you didn't need to go for damage items until a little bit later into the game. So you would see like Drums into BKB, or you would see Drums, Dominator, BKB and such. And then I think it was Loda. People actually flamed him for making an S&Y.
Really?
Well, the joke's on them now, because now everybody buys S&Y.
Absolutely, and Loda will be laughing back to the bank. 6-11. Burden United still with the lead. And top lane, we see the Spirit Breaker is still on his own. Vengeful Spirit finding some farm. Sing Sing Medusa, haven't seen him do a lot because he's really focusing on farming himself. Phase Boots, Mask of Madness, Aquila, Yasha, 2.4k gold on top. Complexity, they're really not in a position to try and head into the Dire Jungle to look for him. I mean, what do they do?
I think you still need to push towers. That is the main goal of having a mech and a Crimson Guard. If you don't 5-man and push towers, then these item purchases don't really pay off for you. It's not like going Midas, so whoa, what a hook.
It looks for the Bristleback jukes it. The Queen of Pain takes it to the face. There's going to be a charge now onto the Clockwork. Do they want to commit for this? He's been tethered up by the eye. I think they say, Zifri, get yourself out of there. But he says, no, I'm going in. He really wants to try and find this. Mayuraki's turned up for the fight. He hasn't got a cooldown there for 8 seconds. They've already lost the IO. They're going to lose the Gyro as well. Complexity. They're finding the kills that count. There's going to be a Medusa Avenge. And the Clockwork's still here, though. So Swindle Melons needs to be careful. They do have a Supernova available, but he can't get it off as he gets stunned up. Black Hole is also on the menu, but they can't close the gap. It doesn't matter, though. They've killed 3 heroes. They might even find Sing Sing here if they want to dive it. The stacks are building up from the Bristle. He's going in. He's going to find the kill. 4 heroes down on Burden United. They've only lost the Phoenix, and Complexity, they're doing it.
That was how you force a fight. You say, we know the Medusa's not here right away. The Clockwork missed his hook. It got dodged, and then he hooked a Queen, who obviously he can't kill because Ziz can just blink out. And then they just go right back in, continue getting more and more kills. Sing comes to the fight late, and then gets caught out, gets chased down by a Bristleback, who is extremely quick with a lot of stacks of Warpath on. And of course, you're going to get goo on yourself on top of that. So very, very nicely done by Complexity. That timing, the Crimson Guard, the mech, they're just like, yep, we're going in. And they didn't use Supernova or Black Hole for that.
No.
Because the Phoenix died before he was able to pop his ulti.
Yeah, and Bristleback has got a lot of money after that engagement, now shooting up to top of the net worth board. Look at that swing. It was never really a gigantic lead for Burden United, but it's a lead that is now gone. We're heading back to the point where both teams are on a very level playing ground, which is pretty crazy after we see the start from Burden United. And I think it kind of goes down to that discussion we're having, where the early game, it's a bit of a funny place in Dota now. You can go 7-0, and suddenly you can lose that in a matter of, what, one really good team fight?
More or less. You could even go from being ahead by like 2 or 3k to being behind by like 1k from just one good mid-game team fight. It is about 20 minutes in, so the net worth of some heroes starting to get a little bit crazy, but all in all, I think Burden United are thinking to themselves, we can't really let that happen too many more times, because Complexity with mech, with Crimson Guard, with a Spirit Breaker, they can force the fights, they can get your tier 2s down, and they can choke you out on the map. They do have the potential to do that.
Ooh, they're going to go through with the charge here onto the bottom lane. Io and Mr. Necroman, they're going to hang around. There's a wraparound coming from Complexity. They've still got the Black Hole. They've still got the Supernova. They need to be very careful here, Mr. Burden United. My butts, he's going to get blown up straight away. They pop down the Supernova. Necroman wants to get out of there. He's not going to be allowed to. Complexity now evening the scoreboard, 12-12. They're going to get the tier 1. And why is it, what are they doing that's working so well, Draskell?
It's just a good timing. They have all the items that they need. They smoke up, they get a Shadow Blade on the Spirit Breaker, who is currently charging towards Sing in the middle lane. And I think Sakshika, oh no, he doesn't realize it.
Yeah, hook shot in, and they are going to be able to blink out there on the Quap. Queen of Pain is going to be able to keep himself alive for a little bit. The push still coming on the bottom lane. The Bristleback, the Phoenix, and the Enigma onto the tier 2. The tier 2's going to go down. Complexity, they are definitely doing it. What is the plan for Burden United? They've still got a very good high ground defense if it does come to it. But Complexity, they are regaining momentum. And Burden United, they must be a little bit worried compared to the kind of the emotional state they would have been in 10 minutes ago.
This is the kind of power spike that Complexity's lineup has, though, is Bristleback gets insanely strong during the mid-game. Enigma with mech gets very strong during mid-game, and so do Phoenix and Queen and Spirit Breaker. These heroes have a very high threshold of not only tankiness, but damage output as well. And they offer quite a decent amount of crowd control between, of course, the Enigma and the Spirit Breaker. So without the Medusa having enough items to really tank up, she can't be in the front line, which is what you really want out of your Medusa as the game stretches on, to force them to commit to that hero so hard that you just die because of either Stone Gaze or you don't have the damage to finish. But Complexity, as it stands right now, that Bristleback went from having just a Crimson Guard to a full SNY and 2,300 gold. So now Swindle is a huge threat. in terms of how much damage he really does in these engagements. And with all these team fight-centric builds, Complexity don't want to let their foot off the gas. I think they keep going or maybe try for a Roche.
Indeed, and it certainly seems to be working out for them the pace of this game that they've managed to reach. And still the Black Hole and the Supernova back online for Complexity. We haven't seen them have to really use it to kind of win these team fights. It's been thrown in occasionally, but it's not been the team fight breaker yet. So it's a little bit scary for Burden United that they haven't really felt the full wrath of the potential team fight that Complexity have got stored up their sleeves. And as you said, top lane, Swindlemelon's continuing to find the farm. He's got a lot of money on top of what he's already got. Midas now picked up by the Phoenix. And, well, the builds, they're coming out. 5 heroes on the side of Burden United in the Dire jungle. Complexity as well, just looking to find as much as they can. The Necro has been built and picked up by Queen of Pains, who he's got the classic null tally build. RTZ would be annoyed.
Congrats. You can buy null tallies. But Necrobook is a great choice against Queen in every single game. It might even force him to buy BKB because they already have Phoenix. So if you have Mask of Madness and there's a Phoenix on the other team, your Mask of Madness is essentially nullified and you take a ton of damage. So on top of that, you have to worry about the mana burn from the creeps of the Necrobook. And if you have Mask of Madness and incidentally kill the Necrobook, ouch town. It's
absolutely
really bad.
It would not be nice indeed if that situation of events does happen for young Master Sing Sing. Burden United, they're thinking about the Roshan. They're around the Roche pit, but it's so dangerous to fight into when there is a Black Hole and a Supernova available on the other side. Ryzer trying to lead the charge. Cogs are popped down by Paris. Look at this. Zafreak going in with the manliness of manliness, and there's going to be a swap out from Come With Me. He's going to be able to keep him alive. Swindlemelon's leading the charge into the fight. In comes Ryze as well. Pops down the Midnight Pulse. Black Hole is available. BKB has been popped by Necroman, trying to force the fight, and no one has died yet. Complexity, they're keeping themselves safe, keeping themselves back, and it looks like neither team looking to press the issue harder at this point.
I almost want to say that was a misplay by Come With Me. I feel like he could have swapped the enemy in as opposed to swapping Sing forward. I think it might have resulted in a kill. I'm not entirely sure, but feels like they might have been able to kill Z-Freak there had he played it a little more aggressively. Maybe just not wanting to trade his life, but I feel the Spirit Breaker is worth killing even if you lose your Venge, just because of how much net worth Z-Freak has at this point. He's got a Shadow Blade, 1,700 gold, it's almost level 13. It's doing very well, actually.
Yes, indeed. He is farming underneath this Dire Ward, which has created a lot of interest from Burden United, but Z-Freak walks into the trees, TP's out, and Burden United, they just can't seem to find a break at this point. Complexity really stepping up their game from what we saw in Game 1. And this Game 2 looking a lot stronger for the American side. Head towards the bottom. Maybe they can look to take Roshan. Rocket Flare has just come in from Burden United, but it doesn't phase them. Complexity going in. Swindlemelons with the Nasal Goo beginning to stack up. And they're going to go for this one. They probably will lose the top tower, and they will indeed. Gyrocopter finds the tower. And yeah, look at this, beautifully pointed out by Weppers. The amount of Radiant Vision they've got here is beautiful for them. They know exactly what Burden United are doing in terms of trying to find a fight. And Swindlemelons, he's getting ready to go in. He's going to be able to destroy the missile. No, he's not. He will take a stun to the face. The charge coming in as well from Spirit Breaker, but it has been cancelled now. Complexity backing up out of this situation. They're actually leaving ZYZZY with the Necro units to continue to try and find Roche. Now Beaver Knight, Sing Sing heads to the front of it. Pop Stone Gaze, and that's going to mean they're going to turn around. Zifri will get caught out by the Stone Gaze, and he does get taken down. One hero down so far into the fight on the side of Complexity. Swindlemelons, he really wants to go back into this. ZYZZY has got the ultimate. Will throw out to Beaver Knight. That is all the mana gone for Sing Sing, but he's being tethered up by My Butts. Swindlemelons staying on the high ground, still trying to be as annoying as he can. A homing missile is flying through the team fight towards the Enigma, making it very hard for him to find a potential black hole, which he has still got available. In comes Zafreak back into the fight. Charge onto Beaver Knight. They're just Supernova in the middle of it all. A cooldown as well. This is massive black hole as well, but he does get swapped out and it's cancelled. 3 heroes do fall on Complexity. Make that 4 as Zafreak goes down as well. And it looked like a couple of very nice ults from Complexity, but Burden United, they managed to cancel the black hole. They managed to fight back into it, and that was a dieback as well from Spirit Breaker. So a huge golden XP swing there, favouring Burden United.
We just talked about it, overcommitting to the Medusa, dropping everything into him just so you can take down Sing. He buys the Scotty, and he ends up being so tanky that he drops, but I don't want to use a phrase that's been used a lot, but at what cost? He lost his entire team. They dropped a black hole that did almost nothing. Come With Me knew exactly what was going down. His positioning was perfect. The only thing that I think might have been better is if MyNuts actually relocated Sing out. Because at that point, they didn't really need the Wisp anymore. Had they saved Sing, I would say that would have been maybe the best possible case scenario for a team fight. But nonetheless, they managed to get the Roshan. They got the Aegis up now on this Gyro, who can start thinking about buying actual damage items. We saw how tanky Swindle is. They need some way of being able to cut through him.
Indeed, looking at the graph after that fight as well, it did get to the point of the game where Complexity had leveled the playing ground, but that fight really did cost them in terms of net worth and XP. And well, Complexity, they're looking to try and regain some of that control as they charge in towards the Clockwork, who is on his own, and they do still have all these Radiant Wards here, so they know that no one else on the side of Burden United is about. ZYZZY blinking in into the Clockwork. There's your charge. Nether Strike brings him back towards the Cogs. There's going to be a relocate in from the IO and the Gyro, and Clockwork will go down, but Complexity looks like they'll pay with the Spirit Breaker's life as he dies, and maybe even more. Magic Missile onto ZYZZY. He's going to be able to blink away if he wishes to do so. He actually gets swapped in and then blinks, but Come With Me still here with the right clicks and with the Wave of Terror. Should be able to bring down ZYZZY with the Under Shadows ticking him down as well. He's going to be able to blink again. There's a homing missile coming in. Can he TP out himself? Oh, no, he can't. Oh, the Gyrocopter with the homing missile finds the kill on the Queen of Pain, and my God, that was close to TPing away.
He tried. Great swap from Come With Me, though, putting him in range to the point where he took damage to allow them to get the kill in the first place. Had he not done that, there's no way that Queen would have died in any circumstance. They did spot the ward with the Necro Book once it was spawned when they were going for the kill onto Sakshka. Again, though, trading 2 heroes for a lonely Clockwork. Not really that good. So, Burden United starting to turn things around, and a lot of it just has to do with the fact that Sing has been a farming monster. He's almost at 10 CS a minute at 29 minutes. So 282 creep kills at 29 minutes into the game. I thought BKB might be the choice, but he's like, you know what? It's fine. If I'm just tanky enough, my team will do the work for me after I am gone.
I mean, that is the thing about this game. It's, as well as Complexity doing it, it's going to be very hard for them to try and push high ground. They do have heroes like the Phoenix, the Spirit Breaker, and the Bristle, who are great at going up to the high ground, but at the same time, Burden United's high ground defense, I kind of feel it is enough to manage what Complexity will throw at them. I mean, what do you kind of feel the situation will be when it comes to high ground push?
High ground push, Burden United have a huge advantage.
Yeah. It's
so difficult to push into Dusa ulti, call down, Clockwork cogs. People can even get defensively relocated. So on the off chance that you do catch them, they can just get put back into the well, and this Phoenix, oh, his thing gets cancelled.
Chris dive gets cancelled by the pushback from the cogs, and bam, a Medusa finds the final touch onto TLK. A little bit more money into Phoenix's pocket. Oh no, sorry, into Medusa's pocket from the Phoenix there. There's going to be a charge on the mid lane. Onto the Gyro will probably be cancelled because Bristle won't be able to pursue this. He's going to take a homing missile to the face. The Freak now with the Shadow Blade. He's going to walk himself out of there. Maybe looks to go back in as well. The Gyro's come fairly deep into enemy territory. Swindle Melons at the front of the defense. Another missile coming towards the old Hedgehog. There we go. Oh, see the Vengeful Spirit and Paris heading towards the mid lane. Beaver Knight, Mr. Singh, pushing down the top. There's your cooldown. They're trying to go in on the Bristleback, but this Bristleback is so damn tanky. It hardly takes any damage at all. We'll take a homing missile to the face, but in comes the charge from Zafreet. Shadow Bladed in. Nether Strike as well, holding him in the midnight pulse for a very good long duration. Gyrocopter will go down, but he does have the Aegis. ZYZZY will be bursted down by the hook shot from the Clockwork. My butt's taking a lot of damage from this Bristleback. He will almost certainly go down, pots the mech, but it's not enough. Supernova has been popped. Mayorak trying to fight up against him with the BKB. The slows won't be affecting him. Beaver Knight comes in with the Stone Gaze. They've lost one here on Burden United. They did lose the Quap, but Quap's brought back for Complexity. Phoenix goes down. Gyro and Clockwork doing as much as they can to bring down the Bristle, but he's still alive. Takes down the Gyro, and so does the Clock go down as well. Sing Sing, he's found a double kill. They're going to see the Spirit Breaker TP out of this. ZYZZY needs to be careful as well because he did buy back. Is he going to be able to find the Venge? Venge versus Quap. No, Venge wins. The Eidolons will find the kill onto the Vengeful Spirit. It's a 4-for-4 trade, but it's kind of potentially, it was a 5-for-4 because there was a buyback on the Spirit Breaker.
Well, it was 5-for-5 because Gyro had an Aegis.
Yes, of course, yeah. We can take that into account as well. Looking at the gold gain and XP gain slightly towards Bird United, I guess, just due to the fact that the Quad probably spent about 2k gold trying to get herself back in. There's going to be a charge now onto Beaver Knight. Mr. Sing Sing hasn't got any mana, hasn't got the Stone Gaze either. If the bashes are there, Zafri could maybe go for this, but he's a little bit scared. I guess the Skadi, the Manta, and the Mask of Madness, and now on the road to the completed Butterfly. He's got 3.5k gold in the bank, heads to the secret shop. Quarterstaff and Talisman of Evasion are on the courier.
Once he gets Butterfly, he's still going to be damn hard to kill. Let's be honest. He hasn't died unless every single thing on the enemy team has been thrown at him. So Complexity have to get Midnight Pulse on him, use your Spirit Breaker combo, get a Phoenix Egg. The problem with that team fight for Complexity was they dropped everything on a hero who had Aegis, or at least the 2 or 3 heroes that were in position to do so. And then by the time he respawned, he still had BKB, he still had Butterfly on top of that. He was extremely tanky. The egg was really nice coming out from the Phoenix, but even with that damage output, the trade is not equal because all 3 lanes are pushed in. There's so much space right now for Burden United to just abuse and be able to farm up everything with 2 heroes who have split farming capabilities, so like Gyro's Flat Cannon and the Medusa with her split shot. Like, Sing isn't scared to farm anywhere. He
really isn't. I mean, Burden United, they're up to a 14,000 net worth lead and XP gain advantage now, 33.5 minutes in. They are in a very strong position, but Complexity, they definitely have the potential to take these fights if they land the ultimates. We still really haven't seen too much use of the Black Hole into Supernova. They've been finding it pretty hard to find the perfect combination. Well, Bristleback needs to be careful. He headed to the Ancients. Now he's going to get caught out by the Clockwork, by the Vengeful, by the Medusa as well. And Swindlemelon's kind of throwing his life away there.
A little bit odd that he decided to be in that position. It's one of the first times this game that Complexity hasn't had at least decent vision. So they have a middle ward and then they have one in their jungle, but he had no high ground vision at all, couldn't see anywhere near the Ancients, and decided to try to go Amaya, but nice hook coming in from Sakshka.
Yeah, hook straight in onto the Enigma, making it very hard for him to find a black hole. There is a charge coming through onto the Gyro on the back of the fight. Cooldown comes down. It's going to be able to blow up the Enigma. Enigma and Bristleback have both brought back into this fight. Supernova being popped down by the Phoenix. They can't get rid of it, so Beaver Knight decides to back up. Come With Me gets stunned by the Supernova. The damage coming through. There's your black hole. It catches 3 heroes. They have already used the Supernova, but it doesn't matter. They brought down the Venge. They bring down the Gyro as well. Beaver Knight thinks he's trying to get out the damage as much as he can. My butts will go down on the back lines to the Queen of Pain. They've only got 2 heroes left on the side of Burden United. Swindlemelon's still alive, goes in onto the Beaver Knight. Sixing goes down. They do lose the Bristleback. Burden United, Paris, will he be able to escape? In comes Riser with the Force Staff. Can he chase this one down? I don't think he can get in range of the Clockwork. No, as Clockwork forces himself out, heads to the tree line, looks to TP. There's a Malefice available in second, but it's going to be too late. Clockwork gets himself out, and let's have a look at that fight recap. Who came out on top there, Draskell?
That was another buyback by Riser this time.
Yep.
So they had the buyback to get the black hole, again proving that his positioning is really, really good. He got a full duration black hole, I think, on 2 heroes there, maybe 3.
I think it was 3, wasn't it? Yeah.
And it was the only reason they even managed to kill Sing in the first place. Had that not happened, the Gyro would have done a significant chunk more damage, and the Bristleback would have died before Sing died. Sing's split shot unfortunately killed the Necro, and that did a ton of damage to him. So instead of being able to take the rest of Complexity with him, he only got, I think, credit for 1 or 2 kills before he ended up dropping. So all in all, Burden United not really upset at that. Again, nice black hole from Riser, but having to commit buybacks to base defense is still losing.
Absolutely, and we do see on the graphs it's managed to stop at around the 15k and kind of peak off a little bit back, but it's still very much Burden United's game to lose at this point. 36 minutes in. Just got to lose in there in the Roshan. How long till Roshan is back online? Fairly shortly, so I'm sure Burden United will look to take that, which is almost going to certainly tie in with Medusa getting back onto the map in 13 seconds. I'm going to stack up the Ancient. That Come With Me is just going to clear it. And, well, it's Burden United, I guess, waiting for the Medusa. Complexity waiting for the Bristleback to get online, and indeed, as pointed out by the very beautiful Weapus, Manta style on the Vengeful Spirit.
Oh, it's pretty common for these kind of supporty heroes to go for semi-carry items when the enemy team doesn't necessitate buying a Force Staff against. So for example, Riser, he buys a Force Staff because he knows that if he goes blink and he gets hookshot, he's dead. So he needs that Force Staff to make sure that there's some method of him getting out of cogs, whereas Come With Me doesn't have to worry about that. A Force Staff is obviously good, but he still has swap, and if he's really tanky, has Manta, almost 2,000 health and 20 armor, it doesn't need a Force Staff. He can just tank a bit and deal some damage.
Oh, there we go. Come with me with the Manta. He's got a fair bit of right-click damage, and on top of that, with the Medusa and the Gyro, should be able to take down this Roshan very, very quickly. The Aegis will go into the hands of Sing Sing. And now I'm pretty sure we'll see Birdie United look to try and push down one of these lanes and try to take high ground, try to break the base. Complexity, they are going to be able to be ready as Ryza TPs himself back. They do have all the big team fight ultimates online, but of course so do Birdie United. So it's very much going to be a situation of who can come out on top, and it's going to be a lot harder for Complexity as they will be fighting into a team with an Aegis on the Medusa. Lincoln Sphere is on its way for the Enigma, and I guess the Lincoln Sphere going to be able to stop the Enigma from being swapped and stunned, but it's going to make it a lot harder for the Venge on her own to cancel the Black Hole.
That's the big thing. Because Swap has such a long range at level 16, you kind of need Lincolns.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have it, even BKB doesn't matter. You can still get swapped out. Fortunately for Ryzer, I believe he will have it for the base defense, unless he's saving his money for buyout. No, he's not. Okay, so he bought the entire thing. Which means if he's good about his positioning, there's no stopping the Black Hole this time.
Sing Sing leading onto the high ground, onto the tier 3. He's being backed up by My Nuts. He has got the Gyro there as well, charging onto the Gyrocops. They want to start this fight. Paris, though, goes straight in onto the Bristleback, who's able to get himself forced out of the cogs. Going to be all right for the time being. Sing Sing standing his ground, hitting the racks. Fortification will come out from the side of Complexity. Who's going to look to try and initiate? Who's going to jump in first? Ryza heads forward, throws the Malefice down onto the Medusa. TLK, of course, they've got the Supernova, they have got the Black Hole, both available. Midnight Pulse, they charge, but they cancel the charge straight away. In fact, hookshot now into Swindlemelons. Stone Gaze has been popped by the Medusa. Swindlemelons is going to get caught out in the Stone Gaze. The Stone Gaze actually also going to affect the Enigma. The Phoenix popped the Supernova. Nice Queen of Pain ult there, but they've already lost 3 heroes. Phoenix buying back straight away. It's a double kill for Sing Sing. Are they going to be able to do anything? Enigma getting very, very low. He is able to get back to the base, and he really can't die now because he has spent his money, does not have buyback. Magic Missile flies through, will catch the Spirit Breaker out. He gets swapped back in as well. He did just buy back. He tries to walk out with the Shadow Blade, but they do have detection. The heal from the Phoenix will be enough to get him back to base safely. The homing missile coming. Is it going to be able to kill him? No, the regen was there, and the missile gets destroyed anyway. Come with me now, taking a bit of harassment from Enigma and Phoenix, but the pressure is being applied by Birdie United. They've already cleared out the middle racks. They're going for the bottom racks as well. 2 sets of racks full against the side of Complexity, and Birdie United proving to have very, very good high ground push, but the fight, it might not be over yet. There's a charge onto Beaver Knight, but they've only got 3 heroes on Complexity. It's just a charge and a back off. They just want to kind of, I don't know, I just give Beaver Knight, Mr. Sing Sing, a little bit of a bash. They head to the top, a set of towers and racks. Tier 3 is going to fall very, very quickly. Ryza, he's just not found the opportunity to use his Black Hole. Maybe it's now. Pops down the Midnight Pulse, and with the percentage-based damage from the Midnight Pulse and the Ray, he does fall down quickly, but Sing Sing, of course, with the Aegis, will be back from round 2. The Tier 3 racks slowly but surely taking damage here from the side of Birdie United. Ryza and Zafreak closing in on the Beaver Knight. Necro units as well. Paris hookshots in, catches out the Spirit Breaker and the quad. He goes for the Black Hole, but he gets cancelled straight away. This is a disaster for the side of Complexity now at this point. They're on the verge of being mega creeped. The Gyrocopter chasing the Enigma back to base. The heal is there from Phoenix, but it's not enough. Gets caught up by a Magic Missile as well. That cancels the Icarus dive. It's a double kill for Come With Me. Swindlemelon's trying to run himself out onto the playing field. They've got a Quap as well, but it's 2 versus 5. Birdie United keeping the pressure into the base. Mega creeps have been achieved. 37 to 22. Swindlemelon's trying to fight himself out. Back onto the Gyro. He does not want to give up yet at this point. The stack's building up on the Gyro. Gets defensively swapped out by the Vengeful Spirit. Come With Me. My butt's getting very, very low, but he pops the... There's not enough, whatever it was. He goes down. 1 for 4. For 1 for more than 4, because buybacks have been coming out. ZYZZY does find a killer on the Venge as well. Swindlemelons and ZYZZY get out, but it was all a little bit of fun at the end of the day, because Complexity, it's over. There was nothing they could do, but a 41-minute game, and a game that Complexity definitely played a lot better than they did in the first one. I
agree. I feel as though when you have these lineups that kind of need to win by a certain point in the game, not that Complexity's was completely terrible super late. It's just against Dusa, a Venge who's getting items on top of that, a Gyrocopter who had an amazing laning phase. Like, just killed Ziz 3 times, got really good farm, the Wisp hit 6 early. Everything that Birdie United needed to go well for them in the early game kind of went well. So it was surprising to me that Complexity were able to turn it even a little, because we were at a point in the game where they didn't even have a single kill, and I think Birdie United had 7, something similar to that. But still, props to Complexity for doing their best against Birdie United, and Burn United going to be moving forward.
They are indeed. So they will go through to the finals tomorrow.
Finals, yeah.
Which is between Burden United and, of course, Asus.Polar. And that, I believe, is that the only game we've got tomorrow?
It is.
It is. Oh, we'll get to bed nice and early then in that case. But that is it for today's games. I've been OD Pixel. I've been joined by the beautiful Draskell here by my side. And we'll be catching you very, very soon for more games. But for the time being, we're going to run some ads and then you'll be back over to our hosts. No ads. Yeah, guys, we don't need any more money. Thank you very much. We're going to go straight to more quality content here at the Asus ROG Dream League Season 3. We'll see you in a bit.